finally feel like I'm at a point in my career where like I feel like I love my music so much that it's like on the same level as the people that I look up to, or like close, and if not there, a little bit, yeah, really close.
Hi guys, I'm Leslie and this is InTuneFM. Today we're with Alex Oeza.
Hello.
For those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Alex Eliza. I am 27 years of age. I am from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've been doing music seriously for about 9 years now, and I love doing this. Sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I have 9 doubts, but it's a beautiful journey. And I'm really blessed. I've learned a lot. And I don't know. I guess you can learn more about me in this interview, but that's kind of like the gist of it. I do like a indie, like pop in Spanish and English. Is bilingual, and yeah, it's like 80s influenced pop rock. Yeah.
All right, let's start. So how do you navigate being an independent artist in today's music industry?
So it's extremely tough. Being an independent artist means that you are funding everything, and frankly, how I describe people what it is, it's like running like a whole corporation or business by yourself. And so it's like you're doing like 10, 20 jobs like at once. It's like the marketing, the production of the product, performing, booking, a bunch of different things.
So you can say it's like it can be an overwhelming process,
100%.
but
100%.
I feel like it pays out in the end because it's all you and however you want rather than being under a label.
100%. Yeah. And just being independent, like there's so much like self-discovery that happens, and like that's really like the most, I would say, fulfilling part of being independent. Like that you get to go at your own pace, and you get to ask questions about what you like, what you don't like, and you just explore and at your leisure and liking. So I think that's like the really fun part about being independent, and just yeah, it's a lot of sacrifice. I have a day job that like funds what I do, and I put a lot of hours there. But whenever I have the time, all that money gets put into the music, and it's just a lot of pulling strings, making relationships with people, working together, and just finding people that believe in what you believe in, and building your own little tribe, with that vision.
So you did say that you make trilingual music. I'm assuming you're Mexican.
Yeah.
Can you share how your Mexican American heritage and upbringing inspires your music?
So in many ways, I think being not only bilingual, but obviously having the duality of, being a Mexican American, has expanded my horizon and life perspective. And with that, like I can pull inspiration from many things, right? Like from like books or TV shows or music. I get to listen to them both in English and Spanish, and the context of culture is different between.
You got the duality
Yeah,
of both.
100%, right? Like, and there's different like culture, like things, from like lingo, and then also like references and stuff, right? And you get to dive into those different ones, and you get to like put them inside you, and kind of like mix things together, and kind of find out like, well, what does it mean for me, right? Because I've had the privilege and to like live in Mexico. I lived in Mexico for like 3 years, and to be connected to my roots and have a little bit more closer experience and context with where I come from, the culture of like my parents and stuff. And then also living a big portion of in the United States, it's like I have these life experiences. What I do with them, it's like I explore with my music. So it has influenced me in so many different ways, from the way that I sing, the way that I approach making the music, the way I get to get inspired or find inspiration. And yeah, and just honestly, it brings different opportunity. I get to connect with people differently.
Yeah. No, I believe being bilingual and just having another part of us that can represent is really amazing because there's so much more that we can like share.
100%. Yeah.
So talking about your inspiration. How did you develop your unique blend of 80s nostalgia, electro-pop, and heartfelt Spanish pop?
Yeah. Well, asking questions really like I'd say that right now I'm in a moment where I'm trying to find my voice. Like I've been the whole time I've been doing music is finding my voice, finding who I am, not just as an artist but as a person. And that's why music's so important to me because it's a way for me to becoming a full person. And in order to find more pieces of myself, you kind of have to look back at your life. I've been doing that through therapy, but also through my music. And so I grew up listening to the music that my parents listened to, and they grew up in the 80s. So those are music both in English and in Spanish. So it's different, from Luis Miguel, Michael Jackson, Enitos Verdes, Almares G, like,
Other legends. I like.
yeah, Michael Jackson, Madonna. So it's like, you hear all these different things. And so I grew up listening to that. Obviously, I was a kid. It was just like kind of like passing through me. I wasn't really being like aware. But like now that I'm like trying to revisit, that life. I lived in Mexico again briefly for 3 years, and that was in the early 2000s. So I was listening to, once I started kind of waking up to my love for music, I was listening to like Spanish pop, so Sin Bandera, Juanes, Julieta Venegas, but also pop from the United States, so like Maroon 5, Coldplay, and that kind of mixed in together with like the stuff that I grew up listening to, like. And on Sundays when my parents are clean, you clean the room and stuff.
So now you're a
Yeah.
blend of all of that.
I'm a blend of all of that, right? Because that's what I lived through, and that's what I'm exploring, and I'm excited for what the future comes because this is where I am right now, and I'm exploring that. But the future, I think at some point in my life, I want to make forward-thinking music, meaning that I want to make something that's like really, really, really fresh, and that's pushing the boundaries of what art can be. I'm not there yet, and that's why I'm trying to find out who I am and where I come from, and hopefully that will take me to the future and to sounds that you're like, wow, I never thought
Yeah.
this could happen. So.
There's much more to like self-explore, and there's always wanting to develop your sound.
Yeah.
So what was the first song or performance that you made that made you realize that you wanted to pursue music seriously?
So it wasn't necessarily me that inspired me to like do like music seriously. I would say that I got exposed to this band in high school called The Main. They're a rock band from Tempe, Arizona. And I remember I started liking their music in high school, and I was like super, I was like learning all their music, all their albums. I kind of just like listening to it. Around that time, I was starting to like learn how to play guitar, and so I started learning, like their music and stuff. But it was just for fun. It was never like serious. And I would spend a lot of my time in high school just looking at videos of them performing. And I remember this one video, where they were playing live. I can't remember where. And they were just playing, and they had this whole crowd singing along with them. And I'm like, dang, like wouldn't it be cool, like if you were to get to do that? But it was just that, you know. It wasn't until I would say like the end of high school, right before graduating in April 2015.
Wait, sorry to interrupt. Have you, with your performances, have you had a moment like that where everybody's like singing back your own lyrics?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, not the whole room yet, but I have had moments, yeah. Like I would say, especially this year. This year has been a crazy year for me, and I think the one of the last few shows that I had, I think we played at Stranger With Coffee, opening up for this band called Gabacho from Chicago, and yeah, like we were playing my song "Let You Go," and so people were like dancing and like singing to it. Or here at Ruins, I think I can't remember what show we did here, and we had a decent crowd where like they were singing Guayaba too. And that was really fun. So it's cool. It's cool when people are like, oh shit, like it's kind of happening, and
Yeah.
singing along and dancing.
And for you, I bet you it's like, oh, this is like real. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like you forget that it's real. I forget all the time. Like it's just like I guess because I get stuck looking into where I want to go and like what I want with my art, and so I'm always looking ahead, and I kind of forget to be present. But then you have those cool moments where you're like, oh shit, like that just happened. You're like, what the heck.
yeah.
So it becomes a little bit more real each time. Yeah.
So were there any pivotal moments in your journey that has helped you grow as an artist?
Yeah. So I'm gonna like circle back to that story that I was saying earlier, because that's kind of like what kickstarted everything. Um, as I was about to graduate, I was already interested in music. I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. Um, but um, but yeah, I was already in a band and whatnot. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But they were playing a show in Houston. They weren't coming to Dallas, sorry, coming to Houston. And I begged my parents, I was still underage, so I begged my parents to take me there. And it was going to be my first live show that I would see live ever, like ever. So I was super excited. They were coming to Texas. And my parents agreed that they were going to take me. They bought tickets for me too. The thing is that my aunt and my mom found out that there was an open casting for this place called, this reality TV show called La Banda on Univision. And yeah, she signed me up behind my back. She was like, "Hey, we're not gonna take you here unless you, unless you do this." So I was like, "Fuck, whatever," So I did it, and the whole concept of that show, if you guys don't know, it's that it was all dudes and it's all from Hispanic backgrounds, and the last five remaining contestants would become a Hispanic boy band.
Was this the one where Silencio came out of?
Exactly, that's what it is.
I would watch that.
Yeah. So actually, if you were to go to the first episode, I was on the first episode for like a few seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So like I did the casting, and it was crazy. I never done anything like that. I was super nervous. I was like literally shitting my pants. But like I was going through, it was happening. I was like, I kept going through rooms, and eventually, like I got in front of a room, and one of the producers of the show. And I was so scared, and he was just basically like, "Hey, like, don't be scared. You being here means you made it." And not calm me down a little bit. He was lying, but calm me down. And he said, "Listen, kid, I just want to hear what you're about. Just play whatever you want." And throughout the whole day, my dad could tell me, "Show me music," because I was already writing around that time. And he was like telling me, "Show me music, show me music." And like I didn't want to, because I was telling dad, like, "Bro, they don't care. They're looking for like a specific guy. They want like a Zayn, Justin Bieber looking guy, and that they sing like that.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like I was that type of guy. And but I was like, fuck it. This guy said play whatever you want. So I played a song that I just finished around that time. It had no title, and he liked it. He liked it a lot. He was like, "Wow, like, this is your song?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "Get rights to it, record it, because I think it's a hit." And I was like, "Oh shit, what's happening?" And he grabbed this questionnaire, and one of the questions that they like, because they ask you a bunch of questions, and one of the questions that they asked you there was like, "What do you want to do after high school?" And I put journalism, because I like to write, but I didn't know what to do. So I felt like an idiot. He's like, "You want to be a journalist?" And I was like, "No, that's my plan B." And then he just like looked at me and then my dad, and he's like, "Sir," he talked to my dad. He's like, "Sir, with all due respect, your son needs to focus on music and nothing else." And so that's kind of like when it clicked for me. And it was such an inspiring moment, because that was the first time like a person in the industry told me like, "Hey, you got something. You should focus on this." And literally the next day I saw the main, and the perspective switch. It wasn't like a, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool?" It was more like, "I think I can do that." So like my life changed completely after that. And I have many moments like that. Like people coming into my life that they push me to shoot for something bigger. But that to me, it's like the first domino.
Yeah, because you're being validated by someone professional within the music industry.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, if they believe something in me, then that must mean there's potential there.
Absolutely. And I was like, I didn't know what to do in my life. So like somebody telling me, "You got something, you should focus on that." You're like, "Fuck, I don't know what to do in my life." Well, fuck it. I think it's this. Yeah. So that's how he ended up here.
Very cool.
Thank you.
So can you describe your creative process to us? Or do you have one?
Yeah. So it varies. I'm always like constantly trying to explore different ways to do things, because like there's no one way to create art. But lately, what it's looked like for me for the past couple of years, is that because I get so overwhelmed with things, and so like just constantly trying to push my career forward, I have a hard time writing by myself, or like writing, or like completely finishing ideas by myself. So what I end up doing is that I book rooms, where I book time with other collaborators, other friends of mine, and we just kind of get together, and we don't even bring ideas actually. We just or sometimes we do. Sometimes I'll bring an idea, whatever. But honestly, a lot of the records that you hear like on Spotify, whatever, a lot of them, like most of them, are records that we just went into a room with nothing, and we came out with something like within like a couple hours, or maybe like a few days of work. And it's cool because like you never know what you're gonna write. You go into this place and you just kind of start shooting things on the wall. And sometimes we talk about like, well, what are we listening to? What is like what's vibing with us? And then we're like, well, we like this, and we like listen to the things that we like. So let's say that we like an artist, and like we like how these drums like move. So we play something that's like that, and then we start building on top of that, you know. And then somebody might have a cool idea. We're like, oh, maybe if you do like da 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 da, I don't know, something, and you start kind of adding things together. And that's kind of what most of the records that I have out are now. I don't want to do that for all of them. I definitely want to like switch up my creative flow to where like I cook the songs a little bit longer, be more intentional with them, rather than just like spontaneous. Like
I feel like some of the spontaneous songs though can be one of your best songs.
it can be, and I feel like there's so much power in that, and me because it's like it forces you to be there and present, you know, and forces you to not overthink. You kind of have to trust yourself to make the song happen, and that's cool to me. That's really cool, and I have a hard time trusting myself, so that to me is like facing that fear. Uh, But I think there is also the other side where like, hey, you can actually like write things down and like really sit with them, maybe like revise them and do things a little bit longer, more intentional. And I definitely do want to do more things like that in the future. So maybe like a blend of both. But that's kind of what it looks like right now.
Oh, can't wait to hear what's coming out of you in the future.
Thank you.
Do you ever experience blocks? I know off camera we talked, you say you felt burnt out. Does that affect whenever you want to make a song?
Yeah, 100%. It really does. You know, I spend so much of my time, you know, trying to creating money, keep myself fed and all this stuff, paying bills. And you get a limited amount of time that you can spend on creating and making music. And sometimes it feels like whenever you're like doing the grind outside of music in order to fund your grind in music, like there's little playtime or there's little time to like spend with like family or with your partner or whatever. And this sucks because like those are the things that fuel the art. Like you can't make, in my opinion, you can't make good art if you're not living life. You know, because like, what are you gonna talk about? You know, you're gonna talk about just working. You know what I mean? Like, bully, right? So like, you have to go experience life, and you have to make room to experience life, in order to talk about life or to create art. You know, because that's where you know what music is. Just it's a mirror of your experiences or like, your perspective on life, and it's hard to have a perspective if you're just like, I don't know, constantly distracted or just working, you know. So it's like trying to find some room to experience life, and that's why going out. I've told you off camera. I went to Washington State. I went, you know, I did these things. I just wanted to like spend time with my family over the break. I think those all that things are healthy because, again, it's gonna fuel my art. It's gonna fuel my like my spirit and my energy as a person. And my hope is that that's what inspires me to make music later on.
To get out of a rut.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How did it feel to have your music video Ya No Me Amas featured on MTV Latin America?
That was like super surreal. I kind of still have a hard time like believing it.
How did that come about?
Yeah, so that came about thanks to I have a PR team that helped me in Mexico City. And the head guy, I think they're called what is it, Mo Press, I think. And the head guy running it, his name is Enrique. And Enrique did a fantastic job of like just he told me like we love the song and we really want to pitch it to like these like bigger like publications and whatnot, especially because he knew that I was working on a music video. And he was like, well, we trust your art and we're gonna try and make it like into, you know, getting you, you know, on these like big like, you know, publications. We need you- we need you to get more eyes on what you do.
And then I bet like a broader audience that can also connect with you because I would say yeah, more local listeners or within the states other than
Absolutely.
outside.
Yeah. Well, garnering. Yeah, exactly. Especially because it's like this is a full like full Spanish record. So definitely there's like a number of people here in the United States that will get it. A decent amount of people because there's so many like people of Hispanic heritage here in the United States. Um, but there is a whole continent right but below us, or two like actually two continents right below us. Actually no, one continent and then like half of our continent revelos that are just like Spanish speakers, and like so you definitely want to get exposed. Yeah, get your art exposed if you're gonna do Spanish, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, really thankful for the opportunity. Thankful for Enrique and the team that they believed in me and that they believed in what I do. That they're like, hey, we need to push this to get get it out there, and for him to bat for me, to get my music video out there, because basically what he did is get my music video for Ya No Me Amas to play live on air like MTV for Colombia, Mexico, and Argentina. So
That's really cool.
it's really really cool. Yeah.
Do you see your? Do you have more listeners from there now that they played it?
Yeah, I got like a couple random messages. I got this girl from which is strange, but I got this girl from Chile, and she's like, "I saw your music on TV. I saw your music video on TV. I loved it. Like, yeah, keep doing that." I get random messages on YouTube or whatever. It's like somebody just told me like, "I'm happy to see artists still doing music like this," or some shit like that. It's just cool, cool to hear that. But like they're from Latin America. I can't remember how they said it, but like they were implying that they're from down there. So I get messages like that. It's
I bet that's encouraging, and then like makes you want to play shows over there. Have you played any shows in Mexico?
no. So that's something that I'm working on that I would like to do in the near future. I don't know when it was gonna happen, but like I've definitely I see the vision. I want to do it. I really want to do it. I want to be out there.
So you are nominated for the Dallas Entertainment Awards.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I am really like honored. I'm really honored by the opportunity and just like for honestly for people to be like excited about what I do and to like share it and to vote for it. Especially for like the committee and the Dallas Observer Committee. Sorry, not Observer, the Dallas Entertainment Awards Committee. Committee. They they're the ones that kind of like basically like kind of like themselves also voted for me to be on the ballot, and so it's just I'm really it's a blessing and I'm honored that people really like what I do and respect it. I think as somebody who's really trying to do it like seriously and who's like I want to have longevity in the career and make like the best art possible in my life, it's cool to like for people to be like celebrating it and respecting it. It's an honor. Yeah.
Right, it feels really good, and we're really happy for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
How would you describe the evolution in your music? Because you said you've been doing this for 9 years, right?
Mm-hmm. Almost 9 years. Yeah, that's about it. It's about to be that mark. Yeah. So, with that, like I've mentioned before, a lot of the records that I've worked on are like kind of spontaneous and with collaborators. So what ends up happening is that throughout my time as a solo artist and me trying to figure out my voice, I work with different collaborators. And each person that I work with is different, vastly different from one another. And they have different approaches to making music. They have different techniques. They have different tastes and styles. So that all has influenced, me making my records. And that's why my catalog is a little bit like, in my opinion, I think all of it is definitely connected to one another because obviously I'm in all of them, right? But they all have different sounds from one another throughout the years that I've been doing it. Some are definitely more rocky, kind of like influenced by like the Arctic Monkeys, Black Keys, like indie rock and roll. And then you have like the more electro-pop stuff that was influenced by like Beck, Phoenix, and that's like the Out of My Mind stuff. Pasta the People, so yeah, stuff like that.
For Ya No Me Amas, I heard break within that song.
You said what?
Break, right? Is that how you say it? Like, I definitely heard that sound within your sound.
Yeah, thank you. So with the new stuff that I'm working on, I've been implying to people and telling people that the thing that's exciting about this current like space and era that I'm in is that I feel like I'm closer and closer to finding like my voice and to making it definitely something more closer to what's truly, I guess, me, right? Because the whole time I've been experimenting and trying things out, and they're all me because I enjoy all those things. But like I was telling you earlier, now I'm making the effort of like thinking back, what did I listen to? What did my parents grew up listening to? And kind of like really trying to have a more connected personal touch to the music that inspires me. And And yeah, so that fueled Yanomamas because like part of the Spanish influences are like vacancy manera.
Yeah, and
That's why you can hear it, you know.
isn't it a fun fact that was like your first disc, your first record that you owned?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, my first album that I owned was a pirated Drake album, their debut album that I bought from like one of those markets that post up on a Friday on the street in Mexico. Yeah, and it like all the art, it was all blurry because they printed it out like on a shitty printer. Yes, this is not blurry. Yeah, that was my first disc. Yeah.
So I got my movies, man.
Yeah, that's the good shit.
That was the original way of like hearing music and watching stuff whenever you live in a Hispanic household.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's not just like the money that's hard to come by, but it's also like, yeah, it's over in Mexico. It like sometimes like that stuff, like, well, that not in Drake, but like if for one movie, some things come behind. You know, like they get released in the United States first, and then Mexico later.
So, what are your aspirations for the future, both personally and your music career?
Yeah, great question. I've been thinking about that on myself. Aspirations wise, for professionally in my music, I'm working, what I envision is for my art to be multidimensional. Like I want to make really meaningful art that has different dimensions, and by that I mean like if I were to play a show, I don't want it to just be like a rock show. Like I want people like I want it to be like sound design, light design, stage design, choreography maybe if I get that good.
You wanted a whole experience.
Whole experience, 100%. You know, to have different dimensions and facets. You know, storytelling, whatever. I got inspired. So one of the reasons why I also like started kickstarting this whole like nostalgia '80s like kind of tidbit that I'm on is because I saw in 1975 and 2022 when they were their first leg of the 1975 at their very best tour, and that show blew my mind. It's like right there I opened.
They put on a really good show.
Yeah, it was just like fucking mind blowing. It was like a play slash rock show slash like all these things that I talked about, and it was so good. It was so good, and I'm like, wow, like that's the stuff that I want to do. And I saw so much great music a year, and in 2023, so like being inspired by people who are forward thinking and who are trying to do that. Like I saw McGee last year, phenomenal artist, one of the most forward thinking people I think in the music industry right now. I saw Bleachers, so that's Jack Antonoff. We all know he works with everyone. Yeah, everyone, you know. So, so being multidimensional with my art, also trying to create more community, instilling more community, not just in within what I do, but also inspiring people to do the same. Because I feel like right now where we're at in our world, I feel like people are craving community, and it's kind of hard to find that. So it's like, why not trying to encourage that and try to make a space where people can do that. We were just talking about that earlier off camera. So do some of that personal life. I've heard, which it ticks me off, but I don't know. People say there's no work-life balance in this life in the music industry. I've heard that before, and it breaks my heart, and it really makes me like
Try to find a way.
I want to try to find a way, even if people are telling me that there is no way. I want to try to find a way because I also want to live my life. Like I love music. It's my life, and I've mentioned before that it's my way to finding myself and becoming a full person. But it can't, like, I don't want to like.
You're so much more than just a part of who you are, and people who know you for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just a musician or an artist. I'm also a brother. I'm a boyfriend. I am a son. You know what I mean? Like, there's other parts of me, and like, why do you want to completely neglect those things for your art? And I don't know. Maybe it's naive. So I've heard so many people who are super successful. They're like, that's just not how it works. And I don't know. But I'm trying to figure it out. You know.
Do you have any dream collaborations that you want to do?
100%. My dream collaborations would be the 1975, the main, Jack Antonoff, McGee. I would say Lake for sure. I grew up with him. Aquinas, 1000% Aquinas. I think some of the like the newer, not newer, but like some of the people that are kind of like rising up. I would say like Lagos right now. They're kind of like they're really interesting for me. I'd like to like hang out with them and get to know like their process and maybe work something out. Yeah, I would say some of those would be like my favorite.
Hold it. I just want to make sure I'm getting the name right on your song.
You're good.
Um, Let You Go.
Yeah.
I hear the 1975 in it. Yeah, it's strongly in the
Thank you. Yeah.
what song would I say? I don't know. I can't pinpoint a song right now, but I was just like, oh,
Sounds like it. Oh well, I can tell you why. So that's the first song that literally right after I saw the show that I talked about.
yeah.
That's the first song that I wrote because of that. Like that's that show, and I was also in love with their new album that they released at the time. Was it was being funny in a foreign language. And one of the songs is called and that record is called "I'm in Love with You." And basically, how we wrote "Let You Go" is that we were playing "I'm in Love with You" in the studio, and we basically took the acoustic guitar part of that song and we started adding other things on top of that guitar. So basically, like if you were to pinpoint a song, I would say is "I'm in Love with You." So basically, we wrote until like what the guitar kind of does, and then we did different things on top of that guitar. So you can, if you really pay attention, you can hear "I'm in love with you." It's those words and the melody's not in there. It's just like the rhythm of the song is there. Yeah.
Performance wise, what's your favorite part of performing live, and how do you connect with your audience?
I love performing. I love and hate performing. The things that I hate about performing is how much like hassle and preparation has to happen before and after the show. But the best part is when you're on stage and you get to kind of like really connect with yourself and the moment and let go. And my favorite part is whenever you're connecting with yourself and possibly your musicians and you're all kind of sharing this energy and you're putting it out in the room and then that energy gets like thrown back at
Just
you.
bouncing off each other.
Exactly. So basically what ends up happening is that you guys, everybody in the room is sharing one moment together, one energy together, and it's like really fucking cool. It's like it just makes that moment makes everything worth it, you know. And it's in at that space is like I feel like I become really like creative and I feel like I just like say the randomest shit and it comes out funny and like I don't know. It's just like you just in tune in the moment. You don't not give a fuck about what's happening to you before or what's gonna happen afterward. You're just like, dude, this is it. This is amazing. I'm here. And yeah, and it's the most present I become in my life. And it just kinda all makes sense to be honest.
I think after that's like the it moment you want to get to, like, okay, you make your music and everything, but now you want to release it, or at least perform it live. I think as an artist, that's like the biggest goal, I guess.
100%. Yeah, I agree 100%. The more I get better at performing, the more I realize like how not important it is because like again, you're creating the space where people get to be present, and the more of a world you build at that very moment, the more of an experience that you can create, not just for yourself but for other people. And I know what music has done for me. Whenever a show touches me, like I mean, seriously, like whenever I see the 1975 and they just like I remember being at that show because I got invited to go. I didn't even like,
Mhm.
I wasn't planning on going. I wasn't a fan of the 1975 like that. I only knew the hits, but I went. I never seen him live, and I was watching the show, and I looked to my friend that invited me. I told him, "Bro, thank you for inviting me. This show changed my life." I literally said that while we were there, and I know that music has that power, and that it for me, what makes it even worth it is whenever you're doing it, you're creating the space, and then people, you can see the glimmer of like imagination and wonder in people's eyes, and they're inspired and they're like excited, you know. And that to me, it's like what makes it worth it, you know? The people coming up to you like, dude, like that was one of the best things I've experienced, you know, or I don't know, all sorts of things like here after a show, you know?
They just hype you up.
I mean, yeah, in a way, yeah, but you could tell there's more than that. It's more of like
The appreciation.
the appreciation, and you're making people dream. Like you're making people like oh, like literally think I didn't know that was possible. Or sometimes what it is like people tell me like I didn't know that was possible at this level or whatever in terms of like a local level, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we're on to our last question. What advice would you give to aspiring musicians trying to find their own voice?
Phenomenal question. I would say is to let go of the conceptions of what you have of who you think you are, because you're gonna change. Life is always about changing. You're gonna change as a person, and I think the sooner you realize that, I think it's the more you understand that it is important to understand who you are, why you the way you are, and in that way you're always trying to be curious. So it's always having curiosity, not being afraid to explore, to ask questions, um and to just like do it. Honestly, you kind of have to make yourself do it. It's I know it's extremely hard, especially for various reasons in this economy. It's easy and hard. I would say there's more technology that allows you to create and do stuff, but it's also hard because it's kind of hard living right now. um but you kind of have to like make the time and make the space for you to try to explore, to create. And in doing, like in doing that, you get to find pieces of yourself, and along the way you'll find it out. Just do it. Just do it, really. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Alex. It was a pleasure sitting down and getting to know more about you and getting in depth
Thank
about your journey. This has been This has been an Intune FM video. Thanks for watching.
you guys. Thank you. Hi, this is Alex Eliza, and you're watching InTuneFM. Yeah.